All right, fans, we're back at it again. Joe the Fan with, of course, Shane O'Mac. Shane O'Mac, you're on fire, man. I mean, it feels like the whole company is on fire. We need to talk to producer Mark. We need a raise. We first start off with the Astros at plus 1675, which you listed a few weeks ago, the beginning of June. Then we, of course, talked about, prior to that was even also the NHL, which you were on fire on the Stanley Cup Finals. You took on the UFC, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. For me, MLS I've been what, 8 out of 10? We're giving gold away. We've got, the Queen of Baskets with the WNBA. She's been on fire as well. We just had Adam. Thanks for coming. Both of you guys, thanks for coming on earlier. Adam with his pick with the College World Series and, of course, MLB. We're just giving gold away. Listen, producer Mark, we need a raise. Okay, that's what we need. But Shannon, how you doing, my friend?
We need a big race. I mean, big race. A round of applause for everybody there. All right. Yeah. Big money here. We're giving away gold, people. You got to start subscribing here. You got to giving away some big money items for you. If you've been following us lately, your bank accounts appreciating us, following us right now. We've all been on fire. So let's keep it up and let's keep rolling.
We need that little what is it, emoji or that GIF where it has like the little cat on the little cash machine. Ching, ching. Let's talk about, of course, my friend, in which we stood up for a long night till what, 1:30 in the morning. That's definitely past my bedtime. I felt it the next morning, but I had a lot of fun with you and the coach. We were watching, of course, the main event in UFC 317. And fans, if you want to look back at our videos before what we picked, but we're going to go over a little bit of recap. Let's start off, of course, with the main event. Topuria taking on Oliveira. You called that, my friend.
Yeah, both Goat and I both said Topuria by knockout. And it came early. It came about halfway through the first round.
Right.
So it came early, right? So Topuria by knockout. Unfortunately, a lot of the books are seeing it the same way. It wasn't like, I think it was like at minus 170. So it wasn't like a huge payday. Usually when you choose something by knockout, you get a little bit better odds than that. But he's been knocking out everybody. Topuria has been. I mean, he's on fire lately. He's undefeated still. That makes him 17-0. 17-0 fighting, right? The big thing now, as I sent that to you earlier today, is the debate who's gonna fight next. But after the fight, there's like a little interesting flare up when Patty came into the ring and they were calling each other out. So Patty got into the ring and then they were talking a little smack back and forth, and Topuria actually pushed him and gave him a little push.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he might be next. Who knows? There's a rumor that Patty's going to be fighting Gaethje next. So we'll see what happens there. Gaethje's a hell of a fighter too. That division is one of the toughest in MMA. There's straight bangers from straight up and down that list. Even Oliveira, who Topuria just beat, he's a hell of a fighter. He's a great fighter. He's a pro's pro. Like I said earlier in our video, he's one of my favorite UFC fighters. He always puts on entertaining fights. It's just that chin he's known for not having that strong of a chin. And in Topuria, he's a knockout artist, and we saw that full scale on Saturday night.
Now, what round did it happen there, Shane? I don't recall. Topuria, was that round 1 or round 2 there?
Round 1.
Okay.
It was round 1. It was about halfway through round 1.
One of our longtime listeners here, the wit of UFC, he had Topuria knockout as well in round 2 or 3, so he put a little pizza on that. So I was rooting for him that he would hit there. And he has you talk about knowledge. This man has a lot of knowledge. We talk off air. I'm of course referring to our good friend, the wit of UFC. So he definitely knows his stuff. Let's talk about the second fight that took place prior to that. Well, let me talk about the fight of the night. Before we can go that, we're talking about Joshua Van and Darius. I gotta say that was the fight of the night, my friend. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Joshua Van versus Brandon Royval.
Oh, Royval,
not Darius. Darius is the other fight. Yeah, but Joshua Van versus Brandon Royval. Yeah, that was a great fight. from start to finish. It was a great fight. I thought it was a very well-paced fight. I think the decision could have went either way. Roval went down, looked like more of like an injury than an actual knockdown at the end of the third round, which I think prevented him from winning a little bit more points. UFL Go and myself both took Roval money line, just straight to win the fight. Obviously, that didn't happen. Joshua Van won by decision. I don't hate that decision. I think it was a very even fight, and that shows Joshua Van's a young man. He's only 23 years old.
Yep.
But he showed a lot of poise in that fight, and he showed that he belongs in the UFC. Brandon Royval was the #1 contender for their division championship. So Van beats him, so he's got to be next in line. But the problem was he's going to face Topuria, and and we saw what he did. So that's a huge another jump in competition he's going to have to face. So we'll see if he fights him or not.
So the thing that bothered me in that whole thing, and again, it was a great fight. Fans, check it out. Check the replay. I'm telling you, what amazing 3 rounds that was. I didn't understand one of the judges' decisions there. It went 30-27. Of course, to Van, but what are you even watching, my guy?
Yeah, that made no sense to me either. I mean, we were texting about that during that fight, and I said, that judge needs to be fired immediately. There's no way that Van won all 3 rounds. I think he won round 1. I think round 2, though, went to Royval. And I don't know how anybody could have saw anything different for that round. Obviously, that's what they always say in the fight game. You don't let the game go to the judges, right? You try and end it beforehand so you don't have to worry about them. And that shows you kind of why, because that Van has a case to win. I don't think it was rigged, or I don't think the judges totally screwed it up. But he did not win all 3 rounds. There's no way.
Yeah, I didn't know what that guy was watching at all. 30-27. I mean, I understood the other scores, but the 30-27, I had no clue what he was talking about. Let's talk about another fight.
Real quick before we move on. I was surprised it was a unanimous decision. I thought at least one judge would have gone for Royval. Yeah, so I thought one of them would have been 29-28 for Royval instead of Van. But it is what it is. Yeah,
and I agree with you that the second round didn't go to Van at all. I agree on that. And again, it was very close going into the third. I thought it was one apiece going into the third.
Yeah, same here. I thought it was one apiece going into the third. And then I think what hurt Royval was I said that he had stumbled late in the third round. Yeah. I think that hurt him, and that's really what got Van that win. Not saying Van shouldn't have won without that. He probably could have won without that. I think that just locked it up, though. It happened in the last 30 seconds of the fight. Well,
it was that missed kick. If I recall, that he just totally slipped on that, and it was 10, maybe 15 seconds left in the whole match. And that I agree with you. That changed everything in my book. Yeah. Let's move to the third fight here with Pantoja, the champion out of Brazil, taking on Kai Car-France. That was another one that you picked correct. Your thoughts on that one, my friend?
Yeah, that was a big money one. I picked that one. I said Pantoja by submission, and he submitted him with a rear naked choke in the third round. He almost got him earlier in the fight too. He had a one that was locked in pretty tight, but Kai Car-France got out of it. Third round though, rear naked choke came out. Pantoja is a beast. He's another animal. He's on debates of the best ever at that flyweight division. I mean, his resume is starting to speak for itself, and he might be considered one of the greatest of all time, especially in that flyweight division.
The other fight that we talked about in our previous video there, Shano, was the bantamweight division, where we had Peyton Talbot taking on Felipe Lima out of Brazil, the United Statesman, and Talbot taking on the Brazilian. Great to see Talbot win, but I think Talbot was I think he had his moments, and this is another young superstar that's going to be. I feel is going to be on the rise.
Yeah, both of these guys are guys that the UFC is going to start pushing pretty soon. A lot more. This is their first time that's on the main card. They've had a lot of fights on the prelims before. This is their first kind of shot to showcase themselves on the main card, on the main pay-per-view card, which is good for them and a good payday for them too. When you're on that main card, you get a little bump in pay, right? So. Good for them. I think Talbot controlled that fight mostly from the start. UFL Go and myself both had him as a winner. That's another one we called.
Yep.
the only one we didn't get called was the Royval fight against Van. But that was another, and Talbot was the underdog, so that was at plus money for us.
Yeah, that
so
was
that was
at
another
plus
big
115. Win. 150.
Yeah.
Excuse me, plus 150. Plus 150.
Yeah, plus 150. So that was another good payday there. Yeah, but Talbot, he's just a stronger striker. And then, like we talked about, his last fight where his only loss is he was facing a really good grappler and wrestler. And sometimes when you fight a wrestler, if they get the whole hands on you, it just they control the fight. Because if you fight a good wrestler, they're just going to keep you and hold you down, and there's nothing you can do. Especially when you're Talbot and who's known as like a striker. He's more of like your Sean McMalley, where he's going to stand up and try and kickbox you. He's not going to try and take you to the ground. His ground game improved a lot, I thought, from that last fight that he lost to this fight today. He got up a couple times. Lima and him are on the ground. He got back to his feet. A couple times he took control and actually got like side control, do some hammer fist down on Lima. So his ground game is improving. I mean, he's a young kid, so I mean that should happen. But it's good to see that he's improving his skills, especially on the ground game, which is where he needs it. Because striking wise, he's fine.
Sure. 4-1 with it was your record in the recent UFC 317. Let's talk about the last match there, the lightweight division, which was, of course, the American Darius taking on, of course, Bacano, the Brazilian. So that was something that was another win for you there, Shano. Talk about that one real quick.
Yeah, my bet on that one was I just took the fight to go the distance.
Yeah.
So the fight to go distance, which was at plus 110. So still better than even odds. It went the distance. It went to decision. Dariush won. This was probably my least favorite fight of the night. It wasn't a whole lot of action, I don't think. Right. It was a lot of like just guys just laying on each other on the ground. Yeah. Yeah. It was it's two older guys too. Dariush, though, I mean, he controlled the fight, so he got the win. I did say in the video too, I'm not going to count it as my record because I didn't officially say it.
Right.
I said I wasn't going to pick the side, but I said if I had to, I would lean Dariush, and Dariush won. So it's kind of like a half win, isn't it?
Yeah. That was a lean. That was a lean on that one. That definitely was a lean. Well, Shana, we have, of course, the UFC next pay-per-view, which will be July 19th. The GOAT is going to come back with us on the 18th, and we'll record that, guys, after the weigh-in, because obviously cards are subject to change. So that, of course, will be the Holloway and Poirier. Is it Poirier 3?
Yeah, Poirier. Dustin Poirier 3. Yeah.
I know it's early, but are you leaning any way for that one?
So this one's for the BMF belt, which isn't a real belt, to be honest. Okay. But the BMF stands for Bad Mother,
Yeah.
Effer. Yep. So that's it. But those fights are always super, super entertaining. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like Dana White says like, hey, if you're fighting for this, like you better start slanging some like haymakers or whatever, so I don't know how it's going to go. I like both of them. They're both entertaining fighters. The last time they fought was it's been a while since they fought. I think the last time they fought, I think it was like 2019, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Holloway won by decision. That was at UFC 236, which sounds like an eternity ago because we're at 318 now.
Yeah.
And then even longer than that, their first fight that was at UFC 143 in 2012, and then Dustin Poirier won that one by submission in the first round. I mean, that's forever ago. That's 13 years ago. I don't know if you can look at that fight for any reference points. I mean, both fighters have changed so much since then. That might be hard to gain any knowledge from, but it's still there. So this is the rubber match. We'll see. If I had to pick one, Max Holloway is such a good fighter. He got knocked out by Topuria recently. That was his very first time ever getting knocked out. Dustin Poirier's got some good striking. If I had to pick one, I think I'd have to lean Holloway, but I don't know. It's too far out. I have to see.
The odds are already out there, Shano, courtesy of DraftKings. They've got, of course, Holloway at -112, Poirier at -108. So, as you stated, very close. Fans, we're going to talk a little bit more details about that as the bout comes close, to the date. So we'll definitely make sure that you hit that subscribe button to check out our our pre-match odds and our breakdown of UFC 319, again, which will take place on July 19th. We'll hop back on and we'll get the UFL GOAT to talk about the 5 matches that will be covering the main card for UFC 319. Of course, obviously, the cards are subject to change. So we'll do that right after the weigh-ins. We'll get on here, we'll record that for you, and we'll post that Saturday morning so you guys can get the best numbers. For right now, we will sign off. And don't forget, again, guys, to hit that notification button. Shano goes 4-1 for UFC. And like I said, we're giving out gold here, Shano. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, we need some Scrooge McDuck, like cash everything out and throw it and have like a big pool of money we can all dive in and like make a promotion video for us or something.
Exactly. And the only way that we can do that is if you hit that subscribe button, guys. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button. It helps Shano and I out tremendously. Don't forget to hit that bell that shows you that notification that tells you that we have a new video that's coming out. But like I said, don't forget to hit that notification button. Tell us what you think, and we take all the feedback. We'll definitely get back to you ASAP as soon as you leave that comment. And until next time, we'll catch you later.